As the courtship of Nancy Pelosi continues, the chaperone interrupts the ball. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LALATE. For evening's LALATE, hope you're great and safe. What a day this has been with an incredible development. That Friday night surprise from the White House. In a week in which everything has gone off the tracks, on the tracks, and off the tracks, and started very good this morning as Steve Mnuchin came to the table with a bigger package. But did Nancy like it? Let me get right to the details. The second stimulus debate got very exciting, good news to start the morning, Friday morning with, as Steve Mnuchin again came back to the negotiation table and said, I have a larger stimulus package for you, Nancy. Do you like it? And the White House press secretary confirmed that Nancy Pelosi was interested in the progress, but wanted an additional provision called a voter provision. More about that in a second. But we started with really great news. We ended the day with even more incredible news as the president announced your second stimulus checks to come from the White House. Oh, he also mentioned hazard pay, renter's assistance, and a lot more. I have a lot of information for you, so let me get right to the news. Before I do, let me tell you where everyone is, because it's a little bit of a where is Waldo. First, Fox News, CNN, I don't care who's telling you these stories. The claims that everyone has left town for 30 days and they're not coming back are totally false. So let's throw that out to the side. Let's start with a clean slate. Steve Mnuchin, who is Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump, Mark Meadows, who is Chief of Staff, and everyone else in the Trump administration who are cabinet members have not left town. That's just Congress, which is what Fox News is talking about. Congress's congressional leaders left town, but not permanently to September. They're on orders to return within 24-hour notification by plane if there's an agreement between Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin on the second stimulus package. So they aren't gone for good. They're not waiting for a vote for September. They're not putting this on hold for 30 days, as a lot of very, very incorrect news reports continually say them. More about them in a second, though. Next, the president has authority to order members of Congress into session, which he will, by the order of the Constitution, to vote on any deal that Steve and Nancy reach. And he's certainly going to do that. So the claim that nothing is going to happen on the second stimulus package until September is totally untrue. Now, let me get to where Nancy and Steve are in this courtship of numbers. Well, it got very good news this morning as Steve Mnuchin again said he is ready to come back to the table. He is at the negotiation table. Come in the room, Nancy, come in the room. Well, she said, do you have more money, a larger stimulus package on the table for me to examine? And he said, yes. This is all telephonically. Again, the thing that she's not available for 30 days is not true. They're talking literally every day. And she said, well, do you have more money on the table? He said, yes. But then, allegedly, she said she wants a voters' right initiative, which everyone's like, what the hell is that? I mean, I don't have that in my notes here. I haven't been doing voters' rights initiative for 2 weeks. Where did this thing come from? More about that in a second. Well, the president, by the end of the day, had had enough. And so he issued a series of tweets. Understand, these are not executive orders. These are not an act of Congress. But someone once, let me get to what they said first, and then I'll explain them a little bit more. First, he said he wants to get you second stimulus checks right now. I have directed, and I want you to listen to that verb, I have directed Steve Mnuchin to get ready to send direct payments of $3,400 for families of four to all Americans Democrats are holding out. Next, I am ready, check that verb or adverb, to have U.S. Treasury Secretary and SBA send additional PPP payments to all small businesses that have been hurt by the China virus. Democrats are holding that up. Unemployment, next. and hazard pay. He says, I am ready to send more money to states and local governments to save jobs, police, firefighters, first responders, and teachers. Democrats are holding that up. Next, he says, I'm willing to give more money to states. I can't say this with a straight face. I'm ready to give $105 billion to states to keep schools safe with additional funding for PPE. The Democrats are holding this up. And finally, I'm ready to send rental assistance payments to hardworking Americans that have been hurt by the China virus. The Democrats are holding this up. Now, putting aside the China virus comment, which speaks for whatever it is, I want to go through what he's covering. He's covering your checks. This is incredibly great news. Your checks. Next, he's covering PPP, which is for small business. He's covering hazard pay, but not comprehensive for all essential workers. He's talking about hazard pay for police, firefighters, first responders, and teachers, which is incredible. Then he's talking about money to those states, which Steve Mnuchin just a few days ago said, I don't want to give that. That's that $1 trillion bailout to states. Now the president on Friday wants to give some of that money. And then finally, he wants to give rental assistance to hardworking Americans. Now, let me go through the analysis of each of these, because this is really fascinating, and I want you to understand where we are and what does this mean. Some of this is great news. Some of this is what the hell news. Let me get right to the details. First, he's directed Steve Mnuchin to send out stimulus checks. He's not asking permission of anyone. He says, I have directed Steve Mnuchin, who's head of the Treasury, it's his money. It's not his money. The money is in Steve Mnuchin's department to send out the stimulus checks right now. Big, great news. But can he? No. Will he? He has said he would do things before, and he's done them. So you could literally wake up tomorrow morning with an executive order saying Steve Mnuchin's to send out the payments. How soon would you get them? It would likely follow all the tracking that Steve Mnuchin has represented to the American public over the last week, which if you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you would get them within 10 days. So if the president signs it by his executive order or formalizes this in some regard better than a tweet, tomorrow you could maybe see it in 10 days in your bank account. Yes. If you're set up for paper checks, then a little bit more than 10 days. If you have anything with the IRS that's electronic, 10 days as well. Now, I am fully disclaiming right here. I am not saying you're getting a stimulus check in 10 days. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm telling you that the president says it's going out. And Steve Mnuchin says that you'll get it within 10 days. He said that last week as soon as there's an order. Okay, if we get the order tomorrow, unless this tweet is an order, which I don't think it is, then we would add 10 days. You'd have the checks within 10 days. Incredibly great news if that's what's happening. Of course, last Friday, before you say, I don't believe it, remember last Friday he says, I'm going to do this by executive order. By Saturday afternoon, it was issued by executive order. And by Sunday morning, it was on Sunday morning news with everyone talking about it. There's sort of a consistent behavior here. So if that is true, the checks are going out. Now let me talk about the $3,400, which I got so many tweets and IG messages about it. If you don't know the math, I saw it right away. As soon as I heard the number, what's going on? Well, the Democrats had proposed $1,200 for all individuals up to a family of 5, household of 5. 5 times $1,200, $6,000. So you would always hear the discussion: individual $1,200, dependents $1,200, married couple $2,400, which is $1,200 times 2, or married couple with 3 children. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times $1,200, $6,000. You would always hear that calculation. Okay, so we're here at 34. What? 34. Okay, I immediately knew what he was getting at. He's talking about $500 dependents. Yeah. He's talking about children get $500. He's talking about adult dependents. If you're on SSDI, SSI, Social Security benefits, and you're a dependent on someone else's tax return, he does not want to give you $1,200. He wants to give you $500. He's your president. Well, at least for now. He wants to give you $500 if you're an adult dependent. So if you're 18 years of age or older, and if you're a veteran and you serve this country and you did wonderful things for this country, he only wants to give you $500. I'm going to leave it at that. You can drop in the comments your reaction to it. So And then there's a family of four. So he's only doing a family of four where there's Democrats are paying you for a family of five. I don't ask me to explain it. I'm not going to explain it. That's where the number is. So 1,200, married couple, 3 kids. No, 2 kids. Family of 4. 24. No, he's 2,400. No, he's only giving you 2 kids. He's giving you 2 kids or 2 dependents. 500, 500,000, 2,400, 3,400. That's how you get the $3,400 number. Okay, there we go. PPP, I don't think you want to hear about PPP, but it is good if you're a business and you need the additional round of PPP. It should be there. There should be EIDL grants. There should be EIDL loans. He tagged Javita Carranza in this, so, come on now. Let's get some EIDL in there. All right, hazard pay, really quite interesting. Hazard pay doesn't say how much money, but he says, I'm ready to send the money. He's not saying he is sending the money. Take it for what you want to take it for. Then he says he wants to open up the schools, $10 billion to the schools. Well, this is quite confusing. This is the what the hell, and this is the what the hell news for the afternoon. This is after a week in which Steve Mnuchin said there was no deal with Nancy Pelosi because she was asking for a $1 trillion state bailout. Okay, here you're giving money to the states. What's going on? You just said you didn't want to give money to the states. They're this and they're that. Now we're giving $105 billion to the states. Okay, which version of this negotiations are we on now? Finally, rentals assistance. This is very confusing. I'm ready to send out rental assistance payments. This is grant money. This is rent money. This is not rent eviction. Which he did last Saturday and was not an effective order. It does not give you protection. Now he says he's going to give you rental money. He doesn't say how much money. There's no number in here. A lot of these things have no numbers. It's just I'm going to do this, or I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to send. I mean, this is how lawyers dissect words. I'm ready to send you. Okay, ready like sort of pregnant, or going to do it in a month from now, or ready when? Well, I'm ready to send rental assistance. Well, what makes this very strange, again, is that the HEALS Act, which was authored by Mitch McConnell and was a Republican second stimulus package introduced now, I guess it's almost 3 weeks ago, had no rental assistance, had no money to help schools open, had no money for first responders, had none of these things in there. It did have stimulus checks, it did have PPP, but it didn't have rental assistance. And Nancy Pelosi yesterday, with her purple poster that matches my purple shirt, said they didn't offer a penny for rental assistance. Okay, what's going on then? Why is the president saying today he's offering rental assistance, but Democrats are holding this up? Well, she says you never even offered a penny for rental assistance. Coming up later today on LALATE is EIDL, but I'm adding an extra video today, which I haven't really figured out the title for it, but it's going to analyze whether or not every time that Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi have not told us a straight answer in the second stimulus negotiations. I might call it liars, liars, pants on fire, but I don't know. It will be a video that says how many times we have not been told a correct answer by both sides of this table, and how America is just getting a little fed up with it. It's one of those videos where you're like, ugh. So if you want the cutesy video, that is not the one. So that's really interesting news. It started great with the grants, which with the stimulus check, which says I have directed, but then the other stuff is not an I have directed. All right, so the day also started with really great news about how I told you there was a grant program available to anyone who worked in 2019 in any capacity, and it's a grant up to $10,000. I got a lot of wonderful thank you messages from viewers this afternoon, saying I've already applied, I'm already teed up. It goes live in end of August. If you didn't watch Mornings LALATE, as a helicopter comes to take me away, watch Mornings LALATE. I go over that incredible grant video. I also went over how you can get upwards of really almost $16,000 of PUA, UI, or FPUC if you do it correctly based upon what happened with you and you have impact back to March. Basically, I go over the calculation for you, and that's money in your pocket right now. It could be upwards of $16,000. Additionally, I had one really nice viewer say, thank you for your help with the private. I've already gotten my unemployment fixed and figured out because of the first person you recommended, who ironically was the very first person who volunteered for the services. I want to personally thank everyone that is really trying to help everyone in the last 24 hours. I ask people to really step it up and start trying to help one another get through this pandemic, whether it's assisting people in finding grants, like the grant I told you this morning. That was not my finding. Someone else sent that to me. Another person sent me like 3 more, which I'm going to go through tonight. I've asked people to really understand, as we sit here in the pandemic, that there are some of you who cannot work because how you are. But there are some of you who worked in 2019 in any capacity. And if you did, you may qualify for UI or PUA or EIDL. And that's a lot of money. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, more than, a $500 second stimulus check. A lot of money. And so I'm here to really help you. And I thank you for the incredible messages overnight. Yesterday was one of our second most watched days ever in the history of this channel. We're approaching 200,000 subscribers now in just less than 3.5 months since starting. No one has ever heard that. It's unprecedented. It's historic in the history of YouTube. And the messages that people are sending are absolutely so overwhelming. So it is that spirit of really trying to help each other. If you worked in any capacity as a solo practitioner, that means you just work on your own. And this can be in addition to working as an employee, you have to understand. If you also worked on the side as a solo in 2019 or a little bit in 2020, I want you to consider the EIDL video coming up after this. That may be your money for you. I also want you to consider PUA and UI, which is our video always at afternoons, LALATE at 4 o'clock. That goes over money that you're entitled to as well. So the day started with Steve Mnuchin saying that he had offered a bigger stimulus package. And the White House saying Nancy was interested, finally, but that she had a requirement for a voters' right initiative. Let me just discuss this very quickly because it's very strange. There was nothing in the second stimulus package from the Democrats about a voters' right initiative. And Mnuchin and the White House are now stating publicly that Pelosi is now backloading behind the door, bringing in, that was not in there, this addition of a voters' right provision with a lot of money. And they say it was never in there before. Well, I got to tell you, it wasn't. I've been covering these videos. It wasn't. So there's something really going on that is very peculiar with both sides. Where she says he didn't offer any rent assistance. The White House says today they want to give you rent assistance. She says she was never given an offer of rent assistance from the Republicans. But the good news, as we sit here today, is the timeline. And I've mentioned it a lot today, but I'm going to end with that as well. The good news is the timeline. It only takes less than 48 hours of an agreement between Nancy or Steve for this to become law. And it doesn't matter where the senator from Colorado is today. It doesn't matter where the House representative from California is located today. It doesn't matter if you saw people getting on a plane yesterday. It doesn't matter if you said Fox News told you that everyone went home. There is an order in place to order them back within 24 hours of a deal by Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin. The Senate will vote the first day, the House will vote the next day, and the President will sign it no later than the third day, and you will have your money quickly thereafter. That's the great news. But what tonight makes it even better news is that the President is now ordering, by tweet, but at least ordering the Treasury secretaries to start sending out your stimulus checks. As you sit here tonight, that is your decision to understand whether it's true or false, whether he's lying or telling the truth. That's going to be in our next video coming up after this. As always, stay motivated, stay inspired, stay positive. Coming up next is EIDL. Watch that video. And finally, truth or lies, the deceptions and the confusions. I just came up with that. Do you like that? I like that. About the second stimulus negotiations. Has America not been told the truth through these last 2 weeks? And stay with me tomorrow morning at 8:30 Pacific Standard Time for Mornings LALATE. Have a great evening.